and I'm the founder of Tanya Whitebits. My guest today is called Claire Owen, otherwise known as the Soberholic. Claire provides support for people who wanting to stop drinking or cut down their drinking, and with the hope of inspiring them. So Claire, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yes, hello there. Hiya, thank you for having me on here. Yes, my name's Claire. I'm 45 we've got two little boys. Busy mum, and like most people, I used to enjoy a good drink. I used to like Prosecco, wine, vodka, gin, all of that. And I just got to a point where, I don't know, I was just starting to feel, is this it? And there was a few messages I was getting from the universe, from various different sources, to think that maybe it was time for me to start looking at my drinking. So kind of got off the train before it got too bad, if you like. And so I played around with it for a while, tried moderating, and I'm now about 530 days on this run. I've done 125 days, went back to drinking for a few months, and then now 500 and odd days. And I just love my sober life. And I think from being open and honest about my journey, I've inspired quite a lot of people have messaged me, friends and family, and then obviously wider community, asking first, why are you doing this? And then, how are you doing this?
Yeah.
Because it does kind of get into every area of your life. I mean, it was everywhere for me, you know, baby showers, play dates with other mums, and the usual weekends. And starting to get into through the week as well, obviously drinking through the week when I'd rather didn't want to be. I would start off on a Monday, like I speak to a lot of people who do, and say, you know, I'm not going to drink this week, and by Wednesday I'll be opening my second bottle of wine and thinking, how is this happening? You know, it's like I didn't want to do it, but I couldn't stop myself at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's just about helping people who are in that situation. People are finding it a difficult, you don't have to wait until it gets too far down the line with it.
So it sounds like, yeah, it was very much something that you were doing socially, like most of us. You know, I can't imagine going to a barbecue or to a party or whatever, not having a tipple. But what made you, was there a turning point? What made you or motivated you to think that you needed to change? Was it just that you were drinking too much, or were you binge drinking, or?
Well, I think I thought that I drank the same as everyone else. Myself and my husband are social people and would do like the party, so we'd be the first ones at the party, the last ones to leave, organising babysitters, you know, so that we could get a weekend in, and it just took over my life to the point where it felt like the only time I was having fun was if I had a drink in my hand. And it wasn't until an old friend came back into my life, and unfortunately for her, it had really got a hold of her, and it really gave me a fright. I thought if it could happen to her, where was the line, and how could it happen to me? And I think that's what maybe gave me the wake-up call to start looking at this seriously. And I did it as a bit of a challenge with her to say, right, I'll quit with you, because it was really serious health implications where she was. And I realised how hard it was. It was like, this is actually quite hard. It's harder than I thought it would be. You know, I'd never thought about stopping drinking before. It was just my natural, you know, it's Friday, of course you're going to have a drink. Why wouldn't you, you know? But I think looking back now, on reflection, once I got to like 2 months, as soon as you start feeling the benefits, and if you're doing it from a place where you want to do it, it's not forced upon you like antibiotics, or you have to drive designated driver or something. You're choosing, you're there. If you want to have a drink, you can take a drink, but you're choosing not to. Yeah. And it's just every month that goes by, even now, there's another benefit. I mean, my life is completely different. We've relocated, just had the clarity to do what we wanted to do with the business that we had. And it's like, for me, I don't feel like I've given anything up. I feel like I've got a bigger, richer, more vibrant life.
Yeah. If we take me as a case study at the moment, so I'm thinking, I don't think I'm an alcoholic, but I do like to have a drink. And then you've got functioning alcoholics and so on. And, you know, not many people will admit to having an addiction as to alcohol or anything else. But I do enjoy alcohol. So my usual routine would be on the weekend, or maybe say Thursday, Friday, I would have a few. If it was just me and my husband, then we could go out for a meal and I'd have 2 glasses of wine. So it's been most of the time controlled drinking. In normal circumstances, that would be my weekly thing, is I might not touch it for 5 days, or I might go 10 days without touching it, and then a tipple here and there, depending on the company that I was with. However, at the moment during the lockdown, I'm quite aware that it's one thing that I am doing more of, is drinking, because a lot of things have been taken away from us, and I just feel like it's one thing that I actually enjoy doing as well. I probably don't, I'll have a glass or 2 of an evening. I'll try then and then that will go carry on then throughout the week. And then if I do a Zoom quiz with my friends or a family call, then it's more sociable, and then I end up drinking more. So I'm thinking after the lockdown, I want to get back to my healthy self, and it's not because I'm concerned about the drinking, it's the calories that I'm putting away with it as well. So that's what's bothering me more so. And then if I have had a drink, getting up for early exercise then impacts that during the lockdown. So I'm doing my exercise later and I'm just a bit sluggish. But then I'm thinking, well, don't be too hard on yourself, because we are in lockdown. So what would your advice be to somebody like myself, or somebody as well that was, really concerned about their drinking? What would you say to someone?
Well, I think the first thing to mention is don't get caught up on whether or not you are, or they are, or whoever is an alcoholic, because I think that can keep a lot of people stuck. I think even for me, I mentioned to my GP or the nurse practitioner when I was in, and I just kind of said, I should probably cut down my drink and just to test the water. And she said, oh, don't worry about it. And that kept me going for another 6 months, and I knew that there was something niggling that I needed to change. So try to put that label to one side. I don't think they use it as a medical term now, because everyone's definition of it is different. People say, well, I don't drink in the morning, so that means I'm okay, So it's just, if you think it's a problem, it's causing you an issue in other areas of your life. And for me, what my train of thought is, and what I always instill for my clients, is to say, have a bigger goal. So your bigger goal, like it says, your exercise, whether that's related to weight loss because you feel better about yourself or whatever, and focus on that. Every bottle of wine is 600 calories, so if you think about it like that, and so you've got to hook that in to what's important to you. So what's more important, because often sometimes you just want to feel like you're having that treat. So it's about mindfully drinking and thinking, right, so I think of alcohol as a treat. So then hang on to that when you're feeling terrible the next day. Was that really a treat?
Yeah.
And it's just about saying to yourself, what is it? What? Because if you'd asked me, why do you drink? I would have just gone, well, I probably would have been offended. And I would have said, well, everyone drinks, everyone does.
Yeah.
And it was just the normal thing to do. And it's often, I understand that people like a drink, and I'm not trying to persuade anybody who likes drinking not to drink, but it's just about keeping an eye on it and saying to yourself, right, what is it that I'm trying to change? Am I drinking because I'm stressed? Why am I stressed? And change the reason why you're stressed, rather than putting that on top like a self-medicating.
So you're not necessarily telling people, stop.
No.
Saying, because you were obviously doing it, as you mentioned yourself, every night at one point.
I think I would normally say 5 nights out of 7, and I think it would normally be, because we worked for ourselves, and we, obviously we took the kids to school, but we worked from home, and we didn't have that accountability of the Monday morning having to be at work at your desk at 9 o'clock. So we probably had enough rope, if you like, to make a mess of things, and it just got to the point where one of us had to be the grown up in the relationship. And it wasn't until I grabbed a hold of the benefits and started reading about it, and having this friend there that was, she was too farther down the line than what I was. I was really intrigued by where was the boundary between my drinking and her drinking. When would that crossover be? Would it take like a disaster in my life, like lockdown, or I don't know, or someone to lose, redundant, something to happen, an illness, and where you really start using it as a crutch. So I just kind of started thinking, what is this that we're playing with, really, and educating myself about it. And I think I recognised that there was something missing, because she had been to rehab, she had been to a non-residential rehab, and I actually ended up going there and doing some voluntary work because I was so intrigued by the whole thing. And I was shocked at how there's no support really. I want to create something that's like Weight Watchers for drinkers, so just that accountability. You know what to do, what the Weight Watchers, you know what to do with Slimming World, you know what I mean, but just to give you that accountability, the support network, and the information, a little bit of education about it as well, because it's just something when we grow up that we think we should do.
Yeah.
And a lot of the behind it that I research is about, the laddette culture. My age group is definitely from the laddette culture, and we were swilling pints with the lads because all of a sudden we could,
Yeah.
If you're in that culture, but you don't want to be, there's another culture, and people worry, are you boring now, you don't drink? And I'm not, I've tried loads of new things, I've made loads of positive new friends, and I certainly don't feel like I'm sitting at home and missing out at all.
But what other benefits have you found from cutting down and then stopping?
Okay, well, I think definitely increasing your energy, feeling more positive, having that self-confidence, like, how obviously you're an entrepreneur as well. We think about, I've got this dream and I'm going to make it happen. And then we'll all have those doubtful days. But when I was drinking, the doubtful days were really, really doubtful days, and it's about having the clarity and maybe confidence to say, right, I need support, I need help in this area, where can I get it from? Instead of kind of, for me, I don't know if it's a mental health thing, where you kind of shy away and you don't want people to know that you're vulnerable, you don't want them to know where your weaknesses are, so that you feel stuck, you're stuck there, and it's about breaking through that. So for me, it's not about alcohol, it's about having a bigger goal. It's like personal development and parenting yourself, really, that's what it is. And it's about saying, it's something more than just that.
When you weren't having all those positive emotions, the negative ones were like you mentioned, anxiety, that it was making you anxious and apprehensive and doubtful, and all the negative emotions after drinking.
Yeah, I think, and it was just like a cycle of self-loathing as well, because for me, for a long time, I tried to moderate. So I would say, I'm going to cut down. I'm not going to drink through the day. So say like on a Sunday afternoon, I'm not doing that through the day, because if I had opened a bottle of wine with my lunch on a Sunday, I would be drinking until I went to sleep at bedtime. I've never been one to say, put the wine away and get a cup of tea out. That's not me at all. I'd be ringing my friends, getting them to come over, and it would turn into a big party just because someone suggested a glass of wine with Sunday lunch.
Yeah.
So I know what I'm like, but I'm still me, and it's lovely to have that confidence to go to a party and, but to know I can go home whenever I want, and I'm there now. And it took a long time, and the main problem was other people. Often I remember being to a barbecue and I took my sparkling water to be no trouble, to the host.
Yeah.
And somebody just really dismissed me. She was really rude. And she's like, look at you with your sparkling water. And I just took it and just smiled. And as I was leaving, she was rolling around pissed, you know what I mean? But I didn't laugh at her, you know? And sometimes people need to be, that be kind thing.
Yes.
Because they don't know what's going on, they don't know what reasons people have got behind that. And for me, I managed to have, I suppose there's lots of other people who maybe wouldn't have seen that from their friend, but because I was so close to her at one point, I knew that we were very similar nature, similar backgrounds, and just that it could happen to her, really, really hit home for me.
Made you reset your life.
Absolutely. And it's my kids are happier, my relationship's stronger, my business, I've closed the business that was causing us all the stress as to why I was drinking, which makes perfect sense now, doesn't it? If it's giving you stress, instead of pouring drink on the stress, get rid of the stress. And I'm doing something that's more positive. And
you
so
relocated to your beautiful new home.
And yes, I mean, this would have been a dream. It would have been a dream, and we would have missed the call from the estate agents because we're probably lying in bed. You know what I mean? It's just like sliding doors, isn't it? It's like that.
that film where your life changes and how it could have gone and how it,
Absolutely.
So now you're living the coastal life up in Wales. What are your tips and advice during lockdown at the moment?
Well, to be fair, I'm actually, my life hasn't changed that much, to be honest, because I've relocated to this area. So my family are all in Northumberland. My husband's family are here, but I feel like we've just moved here, and then feels like it's sort of happened. But I've managed just to crack on with this. I'm putting all my training onto an online platform, so I'm doing little videos of all the training. So I've actually found it quite a godsend, to be honest, because I had so much in my wish list to do. I'm checking it all off right now.
So if anybody wanted to get hold of you after or during this lockdown, or wanted to find out more about the Soberholic,
so yes, either my website or I've got a group on Facebook. So if you're wanting to start thinking about cutting down, because there's a process. At first you're stuck, and then you go on to observe, and then you become bold. So there's a process. You don't have to wait till the day you want to quit to actually join the group. You can be there observing other people beforehand, and just about being mindful, really, and the run up to you making that commitment to say, right, I'm going to cut it down, and maybe you need that backstory from everyone else before you make a commitment. So either on my Facebook, which is Facebook Claire the Soberholic, or on my website, which is www.thesoberholic.com.
Okay. And is your Facebook group a private one?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got a paid and then a private group.
And a private group as well. So if you had somebody wanting to join, but obviously it's quite a taboo subject, and not, people aren't open about this kind of thing. What reassurances could you give someone in that situation?
Well, I think if people are nervous about that, because we do have people on the group who contact me direct rather than put something on an open platform, which is absolutely fine. I can offer the Sober Pen Pal for people if people wanted that. And like I say, I have my online course, which will be something that you don't even need to talk to anybody else about. You can just go in, access through the back of my website.
And the last question is a fun one. So it's basically, your birth month is the celebrity that you get to self-isolate with. So which month is your birthday?
June.
So, oh my God, you get to self-isolate with Brad Pitt.
Oh, that'll do. That will do. Nicely, thank you very much.
I thought you'd be pleased with that. So I'd like to say thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you for having me.
And carry on the good work. You're really inspiring that you've changed your life. And I think the comparison that you gave to that film, The Sliding Doors, where it could have gone one way, and it's definitely a positive change for you, isn't it?
Thank you, Liz, absolutely.
Yeah, and you are
like
right.
I want to share it.
There isn't enough support out there for people in...
No. And it's not about waiting until you hit crisis and hit rock bottom, it's just about, like you say, I mentioned about Slimming World, that sort of thing, and it shouldn't be so taboo. That's why everything I try to talk about is positive. It's not about being an alcoholic, it's about being a soberholic. And you can be a part-time soberholic if you want. You don't have to quit forever.
Now that's a good way of putting it, actually. And especially people go to Weight Watchers or Slimming World, they will openly say if they go. But if I said I'm part of Soberholic, I would think then that people would assume that I've got a drinking problem. So we need to break that.
That's the bit that I'm trying to get past by showing my vulnerability and saying, I'm here, I can still have fun, because that's the hard bit, isn't it? When you meet people and, oh no, I don't drink, and they go, why? What's wrong with you? Yeah. But I think it'll come. I think there'll be more and more people who are starting to look at this, with the whole vegan lifestyle, healthy way of living, and
looking after their skin, their hair.
That's it. I feel like my skin's glowing now, my eyes, and you just feel better all round, really.
Well, fantastic. Thank you for being my guest, and
thank you.
I hope to meet you in person soon.
Thank you. Bye.